Hey Alex, thanks for coming today. I really appreciate that you've taken the time out of your day to do this interview with me. Um, could let's start off straight away. Could you give a brief introduction about yourself and the business that you run?
Alrighty, so I'm Alex Mai. I currently run a business, family owned in Richmond. Um, the business is located in two places, Richmond and Footscray. Currently, I'm only doing Richmond. I'm dabbling in social media, marketing, and also app development.
Awesome, awesome. That's really exciting. All right,
Hmm.
let's uh let's go back to the beginning of your days.
Mhm.
What inspired you to become an entrepreneur and following your family footsteps to open up the Pho Chu Richmond store? Can you share that story behind the business?
Yes. So initially, I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur until Kenneth brought it up and defined what an entrepreneur is. So I'm somewhat of an entrepreneur. With the family business, it's always been there with me. My father's owned the business for 36 years. My mom took over when they got married, and they've been working together ever since. I've only started working with the business in terms of like proper management and marketing everything probably I would say 3 years with management and then past year with marketing. Um, the business is always there. I've dabbled in working in warehousing. I've worked in Nike, sort of sales and everything, and I found that I have great people skills. Like I like talking to people, I like meeting people. That's what I like. I was studying civil engineering at that time as well. Currently dropped out because it's not for me. And now that I'm using at what's at my disposal, which is pretty lucky because I do love this business and like I do love the people that I work with, people that I meet, and I wish I could just expand on this even further.
Mm, that's really good. That's great. Um, so going back to the qualities that you mentioned earlier about people skills, what kind of personal qualities or characteristics do you believe that is the most important for your success as a entrepreneur in owning Pho Chu?
Um, well, currently I don't think I'm that successful yet. Everything just is just moving along, and I'm just like I'm picking up things as I go. In terms of what like my success would be with the business is obviously scaling up the business, franchising out, and getting like, the traditional food that we sell out everywhere. But currently, so far, my success currently is basically cementing myself in my community in Richmond. Um, I've always lived in Footscray, always lived in the West Side, so I've never actually like known what's out there besides what's in the West Side. Like I'll know some restaurants here and there, but like me being in Richmond for the past 3 years, I've really cemented myself as like a local now. With the culture, I'm still missing out on many things, such as like the late night stuff, being very close to the MCG, so like footy, cricket, everything. Um, but currently, I feel like I've been successful in cementing myself in the community.
Mm. And you mentioned that you've just cemented yourself within that community. Do you
Mhm.
feel like you've taken a risk with the business branching out into Richmond? It's kind of like a foreign space for you in terms of that?
Yeah. So with Richmond, it wasn't that big of a risk opening up the business because the business has been in Richmond for over 25 years now.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
the risk, yeah, the more of the risk was actually me being a leader and managing a team and working also on expanding our business as a whole as well. Because we're also a business that's like big with word of mouth. Um, it's like how there was like no social media back in the day. Everything's on TV, newspapers, maybe an internet article online. But um, the biggest risk was reopening and trying to rebrand ourselves as like a authentic business that's been here a long time, but also trying to be modern with the times. What was your question again?
No, just describing a risk that you took with the with your business. But that was great.
Ah, yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
then that might play into my next question that I had prepared for you actually. I was gonna
Okay.
ask you what some of the biggest challenge you've faced so far in opening up for Jite and the strategies that you've used to overcome that challenge. Well, if you're still going through it, the strategy that you're currently using.
Okay. When I first opened up, or reopened up Pho Chu in Richmond, um, initially the strategy was there was really no strategy because I just went in, we redid the shop, and we opened up. No grand opening, no marketing, no nothing. Um, we just opened up to see like, oh, how is the traffic around everywhere? How does everything look? The first, like I say, like few days, few weeks was pretty tragic. No sales really. People didn't know that we were opened. And
Mm,
that was also a very, well, very sad thing to look back into, but that was because we didn't prepare ourselves. Like,
yeah.
um, I had no experience running a business. I had no experience with running a business through social media. I had no experience at all with literally business. And that was a big struggle. So I had to learn on the job, which I'm also still learning. But I trusted in the word of mouth. And as, you know, as people would walk by, some people they tend to try new food. When they tried out the food, they loved it because our product is great. Our product is very authentic. Our product has been here for 35 years. So um, when the product is good, word of mouth is always good. And that slowly built up to where we are now. So sales have increased from it was a lot. I can't remember the numbers for sure. It was going from 50 bowls a day to now averaging 150 to 200 bowls a day. Weekends going up to 250. Um, and initially, that first jump was from word of mouth. And then I started to dabble in the marketing stuff of things, opening up an Instagram account, using my own account to get things out there. Um, and now we're also using marketing a lot with AI, and that's also helping me out to like schedule things, take photos, find out ideas what to do, and I'm hoping that will give us a big jump into the future as well with this business.
Mm, that's great. It's really good that you've been able to do that. And that actually plays into my next question as well. We're flowing real nicely today.
Mm.
Because how do you approach innovation as a restaurant owner? I know you do you as a the next generation, I'd say, right? You do things a little bit
Mm.
differently compared to your parents, like you said before. Things were
Yes.
old school back then. So how do you approach innovation?
Um, I don't know. It's a hard question to grasp. I feel as if innovation would just be like, oh, doing something new, doing something different, putting the extra hours to try out something that might fail. You don't know, but as long as you keep trying and you don't stop, um, that's the innovation. To
Mm,
keep going and to keep doing everything and to always not give up, because the people that give up, they don't get there towards the end. So if you keep trying, you'll be innovative.
yeah. And do you feel like you've innovated with your store in Richmond?
Um, a little bit.
Can you
Initially,
share that?
yeah, so initially when I opened up, it was just like, oh, yeah, I was basically self-employed where I was paying myself for my own hours, all that stuff. And initially, that was fine as I was younger because I didn't have any expenses living with parents, didn't have car to pay, like I had nothing to pay. So like paying myself was fine. And then it comes to a point where I want to move out. I want to buy a car. I want to have this stuff. There's materialistic things that I want, but then there's also, um, I also want to secure my future. And that also means that I need to get more money somehow. And like, that's what is really pushing me to be more innovative. and try new things such as social media. Because obviously my parents have never touched social media. They don't have
Mm.
social media. So it's it's everything I do from this point that includes anything with technology is innovative in a sense.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like as I keep dabbling in with AI, with social media, with like content creators and like people with like skills that I don't have, that brings the innovation to the business and helps us grow. And I hope to grow that business to more than just like a pho restaurant. I want to bring a culture. I want to bring, authenticity and everything back.
Mm. And you mentioned you kind of touched on your vision for your restaurant. Could you go into that a bit more? Could you describe the value, the vision that you would present Pho Chu as to others? And like,
Mm.
say if someone asks about your restaurants, what would be like the key emphasis you'd use to sell your story or unique value?
I actually haven't, or I don't remember ever actually having to like sell a story
Mm,
about the business. Um, the general things I would say is like, oh, we've been open for 36 years. This business, my business, Richmond, has been open for 25 years. Um, Unchanged, we've stuck to our roots. We've only sold pho, you know, we've sold pho only for what, 36 years, and we've done really well. My family has done really well with that. Um,
almost half a century, mate.
and literally almost half a century, like half of my dad's life and more than 70% of my mother's life is this business. And like I haven't told people those numbers, but yeah, e- everything I say would become a story later on. Um, I will hope to sit down with them soon as well to talk about this. But from my point of view, like the selling point is, my dad struggled to get over here during the war. He opened his first business in a church. They were very caring, very giving. That's why he's also very, very religious. Um, God has given him, in his words, everything. And, you know, opening the first business in a church, opening his proper first business in Footscray in 1989, and then first opening his franchise in 2000 in Richmond. And then we franchised out to, Springvale, Box Hill, those obviously died down. There was a consistency era with consistency situation with the broth because like it's his own recipe and he can't be in too many places at once and there's very limited stuff he can tell without giving out too many secrets. And so that's why the story is we branched out, didn't work out, now we've condensed and it's been working out really well.
Mm,
Yeah. So like when people ask us, oh, why were you closed, all that stuff, there's like questions, I'll have stories for them. It's a long story and I can't really get into it too much detail.
yeah. Well, what are some of because it's your family business, right?
Hmm.
But I'm assuming to open up the Richmond restaurant, it was your idea.
No.
Oh, it wasn't. Oh, it wasn't. Sorry,
No.
sorry.
So because
So
at that point
can
I
you walk
was
me through the process of how you decided or how you went from unemployed to
okay.
owning your own restaurant, like
Yeah.
the steps that you
So
took to go to becoming a true restaurant owner and wanting to actually run the restaurant.
okay. So started off in high school. I did not know what I wanted to do as I grew up, and I was just following my friends. So uni, obviously, school they teach you to go to uni, get a job, and then one of the jobs I wanted was being a civil engineer because I was following my best friend at the time, and that obviously went away during the uni time. But starting high school, my first job was working with the business. I was a waiter front of house. We also did all that stuff, but that was my main job. And I was doing that until I was 18. And at 18, I was still working there. And then COVID happened in 2019. So I was 19 at COVID. No, 2020. Oh, what was happening? I was still working with my business until 2020. And my main source of income was the business, but also asking my family for money because I didn't have to really buy anything. I said just buy food, and they give me that. And then when COVID hit, I was still working with the business. We did takeaways. I worked many hours, and it was pretty fun. And then I got to do uni work during that time, and it was just basically for uni work, best friends, games, all that stuff. Um, and then after COVID was lifted a bit, um, I wanted to branch out to make some more money because obviously when I was working with the business as a waiter, I was getting minimum wage. And as COVID was ended, I was over 21, so like the casual rate was pretty high. And then an opportunity was given to me to work at Nike. And I got the job. I was a sales specialist. That was what they called it. And that was very fun. Money was good. I made commission. I worked really hard, made lots of money. And then during that time, I was also working in warehousing. And that was very tiring. And I would get less to do more in warehousing. So I scrapped that after a year, worked with Nike for 2 years. And suddenly, as during that time, Richmond was already still open as well. Um, and because it was franchised out, the franchisee, the person who franchised the business, they went bankrupt, and it was a bit of a waste if we let that business go to waste because it's been with us for 25 years. And all of a sudden, my mom goes to me, "Oh, yeah, so the old franchisees, they left. We're going to take over again, and you're going to start managing the business."
Oh,
Because I was pretty good. Yeah. Because when I was working at my restaurant in Footscray, I was working the Sunday shifts and Sunday shifts by myself, basically. And I was running the business really well. So they saw that, and then they saw how committed I can be and also hardworking. They brought me into Richmond, and I learned on the job, you know. I had staff with me that were trained from Footscray, so it was pretty smooth with like transitioning from Richmond, Footscray to Richmond. And basically everything that led up to this point now was me learning on the job. So all the management roles. And even though I was the manager, I was also basically second in charge in the kitchen after my brother, who's the first in charge. When he's gone, I take over. So that means I gotta do the kitchen stuff, but I'm also doing everything else, such as dishwashing, clean the toilets, everything. So as I learned on the job, I also learned how to like do more stuff. But the only thing I didn't learn was like time management and
mm,
also using my time to work on the business. And slowly, um, I've hired more staff to like take care of my section of work so I can actually work on the business. And that's what's leading me on to do all this marketing as well, which is also a big player as to get leads to the restaurant. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a whole story and um
That's
learning
okay.
on the
We're here to
job.
listen.
Hmm?
We're here to listen.
Yeah, well, it was all learning on the job. And
Well, do you
um
feel like there was a change in mindset from when you're doing the job to now become actually managing people? You know what I mean?
delegation. Well, the change in mindset came, it wasn't that big of a change. Oh no, it was a pretty big change because it was going from, oh yes, I'm gonna work 60 hours a week, make heaps of money this way, and just sack my life away to, oh, I'm gonna delegate my this work so I can bring in more flow to make even more money and then also have my time off. Having working for the transition came when it was when I decided to like really, oh, I really need to secure my future. I want money. I want to have a, you know, my I want to have live a good life with my partner,
Mm-hmm.
and also family, and also in the end also make my family proud, that I expand on the business.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't do that just by working in the business, you know.
Yeah. So now you gotta manage those things, do your marketing,
Mm.
and dabble in kind of in different innovations that you can take. Um,
Hmm.
Going back to that marketing that you were bringing up earlier, how do you market your restaurants today? And do you feel like it's effective in retaining your customers or bringing in new ones?
So currently my only marketing scheme is Facebook and Instagram because with the metaverse, um, anything I post on Instagram will automatically be posted on Facebook. So that's just a bit two-in-one, and it helps with like getting those like customer bases in because Facebook and Instagram are pretty old and they have a big um
User base.
community. Yeah, big user base. Um, so my main focus is Instagram at the moment.
Mm.
I am trying to get maybe a YouTube channel coming up um, to show like shorts. I have some ideas for like some fun videos to do, some exploration videos, some like actual like intellectual videos where like you know just to get the brand out and everything. And then with Instagram, that basically I do stories of like food, the busy hours. Currently, I just did a 5 story thing, with using AI as well, to promote some merch. AI really helped me out to like get the
Oh yeah.
stories out, how to post, how to pick up and everything. And that's picking up traction. And I'm selling shirts tomorrow. Hopefully that goes well. It's a limited stock, so I'll see how the numbers look. And then yeah, just mainly Instagram stories, posts, and they all I just have to be good. Yeah.
Hmm. Have you because I know that you were working with someone to build a digital marketing strategy
Hmm.
recently. Have you really sat down to kind of dissect and diagnose your own business?
Uh Not with them.
Mm.
Currently,
Or with
when I was
like your
working,
own team?
I don't have a team. It's just me basically myself talking to AI most of the time.
Mm.
Um, when I was working with that marketing team, it was for their uni thing, uni course, which is
Yeah.
fun. They helped me out a lot. They showed me that, you know, knowing people that have like certain skills, they can bring a certain quality to how I market things. There's only so much you can really do with a phone. So when they brought in their own cameras and everything, did videos, took high def pictures, like I'm like, it was a big jump from like phone videos and stories to making like an intro video that they're making for me. It was pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
and I haven't really talked to them about marketing strategy. Their course, their assignment is currently finished, but I have messaged them again to talk about, potentially having them help me out with like video creation, picture creations, taking photos. I don't know necessarily if I'm going to use them as a marketing team yet, because talking to AI also really helps out a lot and gives me a lot of info on how to like run things with my social media. And um, currently they're on holiday, so I'm gonna continue dabbling with AI, and then maybe talk to them about it later on as well.
Mm.
Because AI
AI
currently
is
right now is free for me,
yeah.
so like it runs itself so well.
Mm. AI is what people call like a very big is shaking up the market right
Mm,
now. It's shaking up pretty much any and every industry that
mm.
you think it could shake up. Do you how do you believe like AI is affecting your business and will continue to affect it in the future? Because
Yeah.
AI is
So
continuing to get smarter as well as it continues to
mm,
grow.
yes. So AI is very innovative in, say, like research. Um, AI obviously can't affect how my business will run. Oh no, how my business will send out the product because the product is always going to be the same. The product has to be made by human hands. AI can't make my product because it's a
Mm,
physical thing that I have to sell. But AI is very innovative in its ability to learn, research, and also spread ideas. AI can learn about a restaurant, its history about a restaurant, find photos, find articles, search the web. So I feel like AI is very effective at, you know, finding ideas and also, you know, what's the word? It's effective at, it's going to be effective at helping businesses really expand on like their ideals and everything. Because that's what I'm using AI currently to do, to
mm,
research myself, give me feedback on myself, and then just help me grow.
yeah. Um, Going back to when you first opened up the business, were there any legal or regulatory requirements that you had to navigate when starting it? Like any like I think licenses or something?
Yeah, well, we don't sell alcohol, so that was something that I avoided. Regulation, so we just have to follow the council stuff, keeping clean. I have my own morals in keeping like the restaurant clean, tidy, always up to standard. Any legal battles? Not really. My mom took care of most of like the financial stuff, and she's like teaching me as we go. Um, there was no really any handover of like, oh, signing my name over to everything. Everything is still under my family, under a trust, and so there was really no big legal thing. So everything was actually pretty easy for me. And I
Oh
got
yeah.
really lucky with that.
So they set up really good foundation for you to
Yes.
take over. That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. And last question,
Mm.
finally. So what advice would you give someone who's thinking about starting their own business, especially in the restaurant or hospitality business?
Uh, Initially, it's a lot of, arm grease. You're gonna have to work hard to bring out your product as best as you can, get the word of mouth out, get your marketing out, get the reviews, get everything in, get the right people to come in your store, get the right people to talk about your business. It's gonna take a while. Um, Depending on how good your product is, it might take shorter, it might take a few months, might take a year. It definitely, even though I had a good product and I've had word of mouth in the West Side for over 36 years, when I first opened the business, nobody cared. Um, and that was a very sad overlook. And when you're in this business as well, don't expect immediate gains. With brick and mortar businesses, especially, your margins aren't that high. So you're gonna have to find ways to be innovative, make your customers more valuable, ask questions around, ask other businesses, and ask people who are in this business as well. Because if you're going in blind and you don't know what you're gonna do and don't know how you sell, like you're not gonna get anywhere. And the general consensus is that most businesses will go bankrupt or like close down within 3 to 5 years. So be consistent, be smart, always ask questions, be resilient. That's also a big thing. And um, always be innovative, be creative.
Easy. Thanks so
Mm,
much for all your time today, Alex. I really appreciate that you've told your story and you've
mm,
shared so many vulnerable things with me.
mm.
Um, Hopefully, I can bring you in next time for the next interview.
Yeah. We gotta do this earlier. I'm on 14-hour shift and my brain wouldn't work. I'm so sorry.
No, you did really good. You did really good.
Mm.
Thanks so
All
much.
right. Always, brother.